Evolutionary, episode 541. Great podcast coming your way today. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. This is going to be how much time ahead of a holiday is best to get in shape. And this one is the one that we get a lot on the forums. Guys and gals come on the forum. They're like, I'm going on vacation in this many weeks. So we're going to talk about 4-week, 8-week, 12-week plans if your vacation's coming up. And we're going to kind of mix in beach vacations versus like a hiking vacation. A lot of people now, they're going to Colorado. They're going to California. They want to hike mountains. They want to go see the vineyards in California, or they want to go hike the hills in California. Just beautiful parts of America. A lot of people from here also like to go to Hawaii, do a beach vacation, the Caribbean, mobsters side of the pond. They like to go to Spain. They like to go to Florida. They like to go to Caribbean as well.
Yeah.
So just to kind of get away from the cold. So we'll take both angles on that. So let's start out, let's do the 4-week thing, because I've done 4-week transformations, and those of you can actually go online and look up some of my transformations that I've done over the years. And I've done a lot, and they're kind of buried, but I can kind of tell you that you can really transform your body in 4 weeks quickly, and you can do it a healthy way. So really a couple ways you can approach this. Number one, when it comes to supplements. And N2BM has a lot of good supplements that can help you really, really get cut. My favorite is N2 Slim. And N2 Slim is a real unique supplement out there. Not many supplements can match up to it, because what N2 Slim does is before you eat a meal, you take a couple N2 Slim, and what happens is it actually blunts the insulin spike from your meal. So when that happens, instead of your insulin levels going sky high and your body going into fat storage mode from that meal that you're eating, it actually blunts your insulin. So it prevents that meal from being stored as fat. So that's going to help keep that fat off of you, and it's going to help you burn more fat as well. So N2 Slim is a really, really good option before your workout if you want to lean up especially. But also it's really good because it shuttles in nutrition into the muscles. So it's really good for recomping as well. A lot of people don't know that. So here's the thing. Here's a strategy I do with 4 weeks. I would do high intensity cardio, 15, 20 minutes a day of high intensity cardio. Now that can be a wind sprint, a 1.5 mile wind sprint. It can be going up and down a hill or an overpass or something where you're really getting that heart rate up for a short amount of time. And it doesn't take very long. Another thing I would look into is doing alternate day fasting. So day one, you would eat 2 to 3 meals, healthy meals. Day two, nothing. Just water. Day 3, 2 to 3 healthy meals. Day 4, nothing but water. It's a very intense thing, and it may be very difficult for a lot of you to do who have trained your bodies to be habitual eaters and stuff like that, and you're addicted to food. But this is something that's really going to make a difference. You may be a little uncomfortable at first, but leading into that 4 weeks, as you progress, maybe after a week and a half, your body will get used to it pretty quick, and you'll love doing it. Or you can do like a time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting, 2 to 4 hour windows per day where you're eating in that window. So that's when you would be getting your caloric intake during that window. And then the rest of the time you'd be fasting. So that gives your insulin a chance to drop really low. So in that situation, you'd want to take the insulin right before you break your fast. Take the N2 Slim, and that will blunt the insulin spike that you get after you break your fast. So that would be the perfect time to take N2 Slim. As far as cardio, you can do cardio on your fasting day, high intensity cardio, no problem. Just want to make sure you're properly hydrated, obviously. Don't go out in the hot sun and do cardio while fasted and then come back and say, oh, Steve, I got heat exhaustion from listening to your advice. I got a really bad headache. Well, you're not listening to my advice. I'm saying you make sure you hydrate and don't overdo it on your fasting day, because you're not getting those electrolytes you would for normally food. But that's a great way leading up 4 weeks into getting it, and you're not taking any performance enhancing drugs to pull that off. So, but if you wanted to take the PED route for 4 weeks, you want to take some of the quicker acting steroids, short ester trenbolone. You want to take Winstrol. You want to take short acting Masteron propionate. 4 weeks isn't very long to take steroids. So really, you want to, if you're going to go that route, you really need to look at the shorter esters so they're in your system a lot quicker. Mobster?
So I as Steve well knows, and you guys that listen to me on the forums well know, I was always going to prefer you to have longer time. But here's what I would do in those circumstances. Say you won a holiday, Steve, and it's been sprung on you, and that's why you've only got 4 weeks. Act like you're a movie star that needs to get into shape for a movie that's just come up and there's $20 million on the table. What would I do? If that was the situation, and if I've got the bucks to spare, which I hope you guys have, I'd get myself a PT. I'd have someone else kicking my ass, 100%. I would do all the things you've already said, and I would have someone else. Right, you need to be at 5 o'clock. I'm going to put you for a crazy session in the gym. I'm going to look at your diet, and then things like this is stuff that happens. Like, what do film stars also do? They get themselves a chef, a real good chef, Steve. Sometimes they'll spend $100,000 a month, and this person will meal prep. So that's what you can do, guys. You can meal prep. You can have ahead of time food ready, either delivered by meal prep companies or in house. Do it yourself. And literally, you know, you want to look absolutely amazing. So I'm going to suffer. I'm going to do it for 4 weeks. Is it possible? Yes, 100% is possible. Is it for the typical person to go from fat to amazing? I would say that's unlikely. But from fat to a hell of a lot better in 4 weeks, absolutely. Steve's fasting ideas, just as an example, Steve, you're going to drop 2, 3, sometimes 4 belt notches because you've not got that volume of food in. So now your waist looks slimmer. You can do stuff like what they call body sculpting. What do I mean? Hitting the gym and just doing shoulders and the top of your chest. So now you look wider while that waist is coming down. You can do stuff like just accentuate your calves, just get that shape and that outline. You know what I mean? Cut out. What would I do? If you're having a drink on a regular basis, and we would rather you didn't, now's a good time to cut that right out or get it down to the absolute minimum. If you've got any other bad habits, no more takeouts, not for 4 weeks. The kids, they can do whatever, but you're not having a takeout. I would absolutely look at products that is like that available from me to build muscle to help me in my journey. So, guys, I'm busy, I'm this, I'm that. 15, 20 minutes early every morning for 4 weeks, getting up and doing your high intensity cardio. Literally, you know, like Rocky putting a notice up on a picture of the fighter up on the mirror, and he takes it down and he throws it down just before the big fight. There's you going, it's 4 weeks, it's 3 weeks. I've done stuff, Steve, for competitions. I've had on my computer a countdown timer, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds to a competition. It sounds a lot of things to do, but here we are with 4 weeks to go. So here's what we got to do, guys. Right. So jumping along, Steve, as I said at the beginning, I would prefer you had more time. Now, there's a part of your body which resents sudden changes. And the reason for that is quite simple. It's human nature, it's biology, it stops us dying a horrible death. If we could transform our body as we want to too quickly, Steve, in a matter of days, for example, if we could literally go, I want to be more muscular and add 30 pounds, or I want to be leaner and slimmer and drop 30 pounds in a week, it would make us ill. Our body would go into shock. So homeostasis is essentially the body wanting to stay as it is. So the longer time you guys have, the more likely the change will stick, the more likely you'll stay slim or stay muscular or stay stronger. So what would we recommend? 4 weeks is possible, but 8 weeks, 12 weeks is better. So we would ease off that gas a little bit. Some of the changes that we're talking about here, including products like N2 Slim X, would still stay in on the table. They would still be used, but we don't have to. No, we could do like we could swap the intensity on the cardio. We could have high intensity days and low intensity days. We don't have, for example, you know, cardio in the morning, cardio at night time, like we might have to do in the 4 weeks, depending on how out of shape we've got. We can make changes to the diet that taper. So at the beginning, there's a little bit missing. As at the middle of the 8 weeks, it's a little bit less. And by if we get into the final weeks, now we're hardcore again. So it doesn't have to be full blast, absolutely crazy. Now, one of my bugbears, and I told Steve this in the pre-show, is sometimes we see members asking on the forums for advice about getting into shape for a holiday. And I literally have said on more than one occasion, Steve, as you know, is this a surprise holiday? Have you won it in a competition? Has someone just decided we're going away and I want to take you with me? We're going to go and have a great time. You didn't know that you were going, so you haven't got into shape. Because truthfully, most of you know when you're going on holiday. If it's Americans, you guys are crazy because some of you working in offices and factories just have 2 weeks a year, even if you've got 4 weeks in this country, it's the other way around. We like 28, 29 days holiday. Germany's even more. And we have a pretty good time. It's always going to be around when the kids are off school. So that's the summer holidays, as we call them here. We don't send them to camp like you do in the States, as the legend or the rumors would allow. So it's one of those, we know when we're going on holiday. We know that we're going on holiday in the summertime and that we might get some time around Christmas to travel or whatever else. And again, it's your lifestyle, the money you've got, your budget, and so on and so forth. But for the most part, we know when we're going on holiday. So if I say now, Steve, as we record this podcast in March, that my summer holiday, was I still working and living that kind of lifestyle, would be June or July, then I know I've got 4, 5, 6 months. I've got that amount of time to get myself in shape. June, 3 months. July, 4 months. August, 5 months. I've got that time. So I start planning today that I'm going to get in shape. And even if that's 8 weeks, so April, May, I know I've got those time coming up when I'm going to start my diet. I'm going to start my, it's like a prep for a competition, guys. You know these things and you have these possibilities. So 8 weeks, Steve, talk about, in your opinion, what you would do is if you had 8 weeks versus, say, 4 weeks.
So let's say you're going to do, and you're going to go out west, right? You're going to go to California. You're going to go to Colorado. You're going to hike. You're going to ski. You're going to do some of those things that guys love to do. A lot of us guys and gals love to do. Like a lot of my friends that I work out with, that's what they're choosing to do. They're sick of the beach vacations. All right. So in that situation, you want to get your endurance up. So, you know, the best steroid for endurance is equipoise, and equipoise is a longer ester. So 8 weeks, it's a tight window. So you want to get on that immediately. And I would only do like 300-400 milligrams of equipoise a week. The nice thing is when you go do these endurance sports and hiking and stuff, hiking these mountains, the EQ will still be in your system. Even when you could stop taking it before you go, take your last injection and then go, even if your vacation is for a week, plenty of it's going to be in your system as you're doing it. So it's going to still help you with your endurance. So that's a really good option. Another thing that you want to be doing is doing a lot of long, slow distance. And instead of high intensity cardio, do long, slow distance, because high intensity cardio is more traumatic on your body. There's a good chance of wearing your body out, wearing out your soft tissues. This way, when you go skiing or you go hiking up in the mountains, you're not feeling, oh my God, my knees feel a little weird. You know, my feet feel a little weird. I got plantar fasciitis, my ankles, my hips. So long, slow distance on a soft surface is nice and light on your body. You don't have to be going fast. You can even do a speed walk, and that will really get your heart rate elevated for a longer period of time. And that will build up your endurance really well while also protecting your body. So this is another good option here to throw an N2 Joint RX. So I would get a couple bottles of the N2 Joint RX and start taking that. I know, Mobster, you love that product from N2BM. And this will help you ahead of time. Also, N2 Guard would be beautiful here because that's also going to help you with your equipoise as well. So these are some really good options for that. And of course, you want to really clean up your diet. Long, slow distance running, you're going to learn the hard way. If you don't eat good that day, you're not going to really have much energy to do that long, slow distance running. So you want to make sure that you're eating good quality, complex carbs, the brown rice. You can cook some sweet, if you tolerate sweet potatoes, cook the sweet potatoes, and make sure that you're eating those at least minimum 2 hours before you do your jog. And you want to try to evacuate in that 2 hour window before you do that jog. So you're nice and light, both ends, number one and number two. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just they try to piss out as much as they can before they go running. No, you also want to crap out as much as you can before you go for a long run. This way you're nice and light and you're comfortable in your body. Some more options. I mean, fruit, some good, you don't want too sour fruit. Now, a lot of guys swear by pineapple. I'm not a pineapple person. I don't react well to pineapple, but a lot of runners, they swear by pineapple. It just, for some reason, they handle pineapple really well when they eat it. I'm more of a melon guy. I'm more of a honeydew or a cantaloupe guy. 2 hours before I go running, and that really helps. Other people, they love bananas. They like to eat bananas. I'm not a banana guy. So you have to figure out which fruit you react well to. That you want to stay away from the citruses. Those are too intense. They're too sour on your stomach. and they'll upset your stomach before you go for a run. So if you must eat something, although I like to train fasted, but if you're doing an evening jog and you definitely, and you want something a couple hours before, those are some really good options for you. You could even get, take a 1 or 2 eggs, lightly cooked eggs would be really good option as well. And if you tolerate eggs well, if you don't tolerate any of these foods, then of course you don't want to eat them before you do long, slow distance. But that's a great way to get yourself into shape without traumatizing your body 8 weeks out. So that's what I would do in that situation. Beach. I'll talk about this really quick, Mobster, and let you jump in. You can talk a little bit about. But for beach, I would do something a little different. I would do the time restricted eating if you wanted to really trim up 8 weeks out. I would get on that 2 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour window. I'm not a big fan of 8 hour window time restricted eating. I don't think that's enough time where you're fasted. So I want to see you guys go 6 hours or less, 2 to 6 hours, preferably 2 to 4 hours. And then that would really help keep your insulin under control and help your body burn more fat. And then, of course, you can use the insulin before you bake your fast. Take the N2-slin, and the N2-slin will help blunt that insulin spike so you get leaned up during this time. I would do in the weight room, I do higher reps in the weight room. It's a cliche, but it's really, really good. I would focus less on the amount of weight I'm doing and just go maybe try some high rep training. And then this way, when you go on your vacation, you'll be more cut. You can take some, you open up more options when it comes to 8 weeks in terms of performance enhancing drugs. You open up more options. You can go with the enanthate esters, the longer esters, the masterone enanthate instead of masterone propionate. You can go with trenbolone enanthate instead of trenbolone acetate. More longer esters that way. So those are options for you as well. Mobster?
I'll give you one easy tip just to get you into the right mindset, guys, is to change, just for those 8 weeks, change gyms. It's a silly little tiny thing, Steve, but it would work. If you train at home, go to the gym. If you train at a gym, go to another gym, just for those 8 weeks, because it's like you're going to war. You're going to somewhere else where, people have seen you training this particular way at a certain particular level all year, and now it's time to get in shape. Go early when the gym's empty, or go real late when the gym's empty. Just do something different that puts you in a different mindset. I used that analogy earlier on about getting ready for a movie. Same thing. Thinking about you getting ready for a competition, even though you're going to be in a competition. Trust me, guys, if I was going to put 20 million on the table and you needed to get shape for a movie, you'd get into shape for the movie. So your mindset is the most important thing. Now, why would I recommend more time, like 12 weeks, over 8 weeks or over 4 weeks? But it goes back to that thing I said earlier on, guys, which is the homeostasis. Here's the thing, right? With the 4-week transformation, the chances of that transformation being permanent are reduced. 8 weeks, they're a little better. 12 weeks, it's kind of almost guaranteed. Why do I say that? I think there's a turnover in the body, Steve, of cells, which I believe, and it might be one of those pseudoscience things, and I'm getting it slightly out of context, but I believe it's every 90 days, every 90 to 100 days. So about 12 weeks, like I say. So what does that mean? It means, for example, that if you took 12 weeks rather than 8 weeks or 4 weeks to get in shape, the changes are more likely to stick and stay, i.e. become permanent. So, for example, your habits have changed because you've been doing this one thing, this nice thing, this improved thing, this better way of training and living and eating or fasting for 12 weeks. So your body has kind of got used to it. And therefore, for example, if you reduce your waist size by 3 inches, it's more likely to stay reduced. Perhaps not by 3 inches or 4 inches, but certainly less than before. So even if you get out of shape after the holiday, it's still not as out of shape as you was 12 weeks ago, plus the holiday. So this is why the longer, the better. It's also a great thing for lifestyle. Guys, there's who here hasn't put some money to one side away for something in the car or the house deposit or a holiday or Christmas? And we don't do that 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks before Christmas. Those of us that think like that do it for months. Some people I know, which seems absolutely crazy to me, Steve, they start the day after Christmas, saving up for next Christmas. I'm not like that, but the longer the better. 12 weeks, if it was a Christmas thing, Steve, would be plenty of time to save up the cash to buy the presents you want to get. It's the same principle when it comes to getting into shape. So, for example, Steve, there are products from Need to Build Muscle that you and I use year round, as well as when we're on cycle, as well as when we're trying to get into shape. One of my, and you mentioned it earlier on, would be the N2 Joint RX because I train year round. Hell, guys, I've been crazy sometimes and even train on holiday. And then I said, no, your body actually needs time off. Fucking relax, you silly bastard. So I've chilled out and I've just swam and done walk on the beach and whatever. I'm still exercising, Steve, just not at that level that I would normally do. But I'm doing it the rest of the year. So I'm using Need to Build Muscle products the rest of the year. I'm trying to keep, and it's not always perfect, I don't think any of us are, as good as I can with my diet and certainly with my training and so on and so forth. So the longer, the better. I've used this analogy before, Steve, that when I was injured in 2016, I think I dropped 12 pounds from, I think I was 290 and I went down to 280, or 280 and I went down to 270, something like that. And obviously some of that was a little bit of also water and fat loss and whatever else. So my 270 would have been a softer than my 280, which would have been hard. When I come back to training, it took me 4 to 6 weeks to gain back the muscle. And I suspect to swap some of that fat for harder muscles, so on and so forth. So the scale showed a 10 to 12 pound difference, but in reality, it was probably 16 to 20 pound difference. And that was in 16 weeks, guys. So there's muscle memory and all that kind of stuff. So what we're looking at here really is that 12 weeks is going to be better than 8 weeks, and 8 weeks is better than 4 weeks because you can make small changes that add up every single day. And again, the best example, I think, Steve, as we talked about before, would be something like thinking as though you were a film star for a movie, thinking as though you were competing for a competition. You can even have it, you can do stuff, crazy stuff, Steve. You could have a bet. I could have a bet with you. You and I could have a bet on this podcast and say $30 so the first person to drop this amount of weight. $10 if you get into shape before me. $5 if if I've put a quarter of an inch on my biceps in in 12 weeks, that kind of thing. You can do that. You can do it with yourself, guys. But it's especially good if you have a little tiny friendly competition. And what in reality, the bucks don't matter, the prize doesn't matter. You getting into shape matters. You having that target for a holiday is super important. It's kind of crazy that we think that we have to do it for a holiday rather than year round, but I get it. We all got other lives, things outside the gym, work, and other stuff that's going on, and house moves, all that kind of crazy fucked up stuff. Right, relationships, good relationships, bad, loads of other things. So sometimes we just focus on the holiday and getting into shape, and it becomes our moment, like being on stage at the Mystery Olympics, our time to shine, our time to look good. We've done a bunch of cutting podcasts, summer shredders, spring shredders. Listen to those as well, guys. But this is the time. 12 weeks is better than 8, and 8 is better than 4. What do you think, Steve, as we finish up?
Yeah, and listen, at the end of the day, I think it's really a good idea to come on the forums and start up a log and do like, you know what, I'm going to do a 4-week.
Oh, yeah.
I personally, I've transformed my body in a very short amount of time. I did it. I've done it, 3 weeks. I could transform my body or anyone's body in 3 weeks. So if you come to me and you got a vacation coming up, hit me up for a consultation and we'll do it. You're gonna, if you do things my way and you listen to me, you can have a lot of success doing this in a short amount of time. Is it ideal and is it permanent as much as it would be if you took your time? No. But if you really want that challenge, you want to do a 3 or 4 week, I want to really change the way I look. You can do some amazing things, especially if you've let yourself go and you used to be in good shape. So again, homeostasis is important. And Mobster and I talked about it on the pre-show. Yeah. If you used to be in good shape for years and years and years, and over the past year or two, you started eating McDonald's, you started eating fast food, you're not working out, you look like shit, and then you went back to doing what you did those previous 10, 20 years, you'll get into shape pretty quick. But if you've never been in good shape for the past 10, 20 years, it's been 10, 20 years since you've been in good shape, it's going to be a lot harder. You're going to have to change some stuff. A lot of clients, they come to me and this is what I want to know. I want to know their history. It's more important for me to know their history than it is to know where they're at right now, because your body has memory. How do you think these professional athletes at the highest level, they get these severe injuries where they can't even walk for months? Okay.
Yeah.
They have these really invasive surgeries, and then the next year they're right back playing at MVP level. How do you think that's possible?
That's
because
me.
they've been playing that sport since they
Yeah.
were 4 years old. It's in their brains. It's their body remembers how good they were. Their body remembers how fast they were. Yeah, I had a friend of mine. I used to train with him for triathlons. One day he was playing football. He was playing flag football, and he had his leg broken. It's a true story. He had his leg broken. He was on crutches. He couldn't walk. The bone was literally sticking through his skin. They
That's
had to
fucked
rush
up.
him to the hospital. It was horrible. And he was devastated. And you know what? 6 months later, he was running faster than he was before
Boom.
because
Boom.
he'd been running since he was 4 years old. So
Yeah.
it comes back. So get on this. If you younger guys listening to this, you're in your teens, you're in your 20s. A lot of our listeners, a big bulk of our listeners are younger guys because obviously that's the market for this stuff, right? And we have people who listen from 15 years old up to
Yeah.
85 years old. We have all
Yeah.
kinds
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
listeners, but
Yeah.
most of you are going to be in the younger end, right? Get on this immediately and get consistent because over time, when you do these transformations ahead of a vacation, once you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, as Mobster is, and Mobster is
Yes.
almost 60, it's going to be
Nearly.
easier and easier to get back to where you want to be, even if you fall off the cliff, because life is full of shit. Life,
I'm proof. I'm proof,
yep.
Steve.
You've got all
2016, like
kinds
you
of
said.
things. Yep.
I'd
Yep.
been training for 36, 37 years when I had that injury. There's no damn way that my body's not going to allow me. I'm doing more on. Listen, guys. Steve said it already. Have a log. On my log yesterday, my leg training session yesterday was one of the best training sessions using those exercises. The best. Every single thing was a PB yesterday, Steve. Every single one for all the exercises I did on that leg training session yesterday. That particular machine, that particular piece of equipment, best ever at 58. And in 2016, I think I'd have been training for 36 or 37 years, training guys, and was laying on the floor in agony, like those athletes that Steve just mentioned. Then I was doing 16, 17, 18 hours a day laying in bed, Steve. I had to get out in an agony, crawl around and do the things that I did. I did the rehab. I did the exercises they wanted me to do. I got back into shape. And then yesterday, not on cycle, guys, off cycle, just finished the cycle. I did the best I've ever done on those exercises, ever at 58 years of age. I'll be 59 this year. So is muscle memory a thing? Yes, 100%. So here's the thing, guys. You can read this in my log. Why does a log help you? Come on our forums and create a log. Why? Because it makes you stay on plan. You have 1,000 people. There's 100,000 plus members, but you will have 1,000 people. You can look at the numbers, guys. It builds up and it builds up and it builds up. 100 every day looking at your log, 1,000 a week looking at your log. That keeps you on plan. It keeps you on point. You have pros, reps, moderators, competitive athletes. People, I've been paid, so I'm a pro. I'm a competitive athlete. I'm competitive anyway, but I've been a competitive athlete. I've been European and British champion. I've had world records. I've still got world records. You have people like Steve who does consults all the time, and we will come and we will tweak what you're doing. And we want you to transform. We want you to have a best ever look. We get you to post photographs. We tell you how to post photographs, how to, take out your face in case you're using PDs and it's a problem where you are, all of that kind of stuff. And then we say, oh man, your shoulders are popping, your biceps are starting to come up. Oh, you need to do more work on your waist. Listen, why are you using that carbohydrate? Why don't you use this? Why don't you take out them potatoes and put in these sweet potatoes? It's silly little things, but it's every single day. And it's all done with the best intention of getting you into the best goddamn shape you've ever been in. We've got people that are winning competitions. We've got people that are doing crazy weights for their age and for their size. I outweigh some of the members by 100 pounds, but their best is their best. And we want them to be amazing. Steve has done on forum transformations, like he says. You can see examples. Guys, there's absolutely no, we will help you as much as we possibly can. We will recommend products from companies like Need to Build Muscle. We will say this is what you can take. This is how you should use it. We'll talk about dosages. We will tweak your PEDs. We will do all of those things. If you get a consult, you are getting a one-to-one with someone that's done many, many, many hundreds of consults. And he could show you, except some of those people would be private and specific to them, but he could show you transformations. He could prove to you that he's had people that's got into shape. I know that he's done it. He's done it for himself multiple times. So, guys, your best ever shape for the summer. We can help you. Come and check us out. Come on the forums, comment on these podcasts, put your stuff down below to let us know what you think and what you want, and hook up. Contact us, see what you're going to do. Best ever summer shape, we're ready for it.
Yeah.
Please
I just want to say this too. It's really good to have someone to really push you, but it's hard to find that in person. Like you know, like over the years, I've had gym buddies that have gone with me. It's been inconsistent. It's been, they miss days here and there. Really, at the end of the day, you have to be the one who pushes yourself. You can't depend on other people. So really, that's why a log is such a good thing, because the log can kind of keep you honest with yourself and keep you disciplined. And this is what this is discipline, and it's all about being consistent at this if you really want to reach your goals. And you're going on vacation and everyone wants to look good. Ironically, the people that you run into on vacation, you're likely never going to see them again. So that's the weird thing. But you want to feel good about yourself. You want to be able to walk down the beach with no shirt or in the water and just not be insecure about yourself. And security is very, very important. We want to be able to live in a place where I don't have to worry about getting, assaulted or robbed or shot at, right? So that's very important. If you don't have that security, then you're screwed. So body dysmorphia and all these bigorexias and all this stuff, this is a real thing. So when you're on vacation, you want to enjoy your vacation and not be stressed out about how you're looking. So Mobster, take us into the final and take us to the disclaimer. Final thoughts.
The final thought, guys, and this is probably the tip of the podcast. Don't get too out of shape to begin with. You'll get your best results if you never went absolutely crazy in what we would call the off season. If you never let yourself get too fat, if you never let yourself get too carried away on binges and whatever else. So that's your number one takeaway. Don't get so crazy out of shape that it becomes that much harder to get into shape. But for everything else, we've got advice. We're ready for you. We're going to help you. We're ready to go. And Need to Build Muscle's got some solid ass products that you can put on the table and use those on your getting in shape, ready for the summer journey. Please note, we are not doctors and the opinions are ours. It's our view and based on our experience and views on the topic. A podcast are for informational purposes and entertainment only. The freedom of speech and the First Amendment applies.